Sanbonani, Siphosihle Sitholelo, and I'm back with another video. So this is a message to the EFF members and the EFF supporters and the leadership. When we talk about the open border, what do you mean? You mean like the country shouldn't be? We're trying to fix the country to have. You still point us that there's no border. That's why we are having problems. You still tell us that there's no fence, there's no what. That's what we're trying to fix. So you're making it like we already we like how we're living with this open border. Because of that's the reason we're saying the borders should be closed. That's the reason we are saying that it should be more tight. So if you so sure, you advocate, because every time they ask you about this thing, you deflect and say there's no border even right now. But you've never answered that. Why do you have security guard? For your safety. What's so special about you to be so safe? Why do you live where you live? Because if you know if borders were created by white people, then even fence were created by white people. That's what you're saying. Fence were created by white people if borders were created. Because of everything has its border. It's been borders and borders so that we can contain and respect each other's culture. We can integrate when we want to integrate at our own choice, but we shouldn't be forced to do what we don't want to do. We can trade with each other, help each other as much as we can, but I feel like your leaders and your supporters are zombies, are people who don't normally think for themselves. Some of them, they don't normally do it. They would say the borders are open, you can close the gates, while it made me laugh that day I saw that video. I was like, that's the reason that we saying it should be closed right now. We are tired. That's the reason. I think that's the reason we are saying now we need to shut down. We are tired of this thing. So you're making us feel like we are crazy if we are saying this thing. You're making us saying you've been using the same thing. That's the reason we are complaining about this. And we thought it's gonna be like the everything in South Africa. We always thought, okay, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. It only gets worse. That's where people stand up to do things for themselves. Dear EFF members, it's not illegal to think. To think for yourself, to be an independent thinker. You can support EFF, it's okay. But be an independent thinker. You know how to think like for yourself. It's not illegal. Don't make don't support something so much or someone so much that you praise him as God that he doesn't become wrong. God gave you a mind to think for yourself. It's not illegal to think. You can support a person, but don't praise them in such way that you don't see anything wrong about anything they say. That's being delusional. That's putting them as a god figure, and that's stupid. That's self-hate. That's everything that's wrong with you and everything you represent. So I think if you support EFF, support EFF, support any party you wanna support. But if you wanna discuss policies and discuss everything, then you gotta be logic. You gotta have some piece of brain. You gotta think. You gotta know that this part, some of the parts I don't believe in. Some of these parts, that's the only way you can change. Maybe one day you might be that leader who will change those parts, who saw that like maybe they were not right. That's the thing that's been holding your party EFF back. Maybe you might be that leader. So if you're not honest while you're still a supporter, how can you be honest at the leadership? You are a sheep. You are a sheep, and you are heading to the cliff. You are a sheep heading to a cliff. So I'm tired of the sheep heading to the cliffs. Let the sheep heading to the cliff fall down with their leader. Independent thinkers, you can support anything you want to support, including EFF, but you gotta be reasonable. The open border policy doesn't work for anyone. It doesn't. We have to have our. I mean, I support like Africans, working with each other, making easier for each other to work with each other. That's the best we can do. And also protect each other country's integrity and everything. Because of if you're gonna have people from other countries to start building their slums in our countries, it's gonna be a problem. That's where's the respect for our people. But when we tryna make them respect us, we are the one that who are wrong, because we ain't trying to be politically right. So guys, let's be independent thinkers. No, let's not be lefties, righties. These whole things, I think it's not logical for me. If you can't think for yourself, you just say you're a lefty, you just go right straight. I think you're a slave. You are in the matrix like the other one who's a righty. He's a matrix because of you are the same thing, a different side of the same coin. I live on the edge. I think for myself. I'm an independent thinker. I see what's wrong, what's right, what's wrong with this, and what's right with this, and what's right with this, what's wrong with this. I'm an independent thinker. That's why in my channel, I motivate mostly Africans, because they are the ones who need to restore their dignity in this world. But everything I talk about, it's self-independent. You need to be self-reliant. You need to be everything. You should be. You should know how to move yourself. That's how China did it. That's how most countries did it. We can work as a SADC, make sure we hold it. SADC, I think, as like SADC and what every this organization. The only thing, if we can hold each other accountable, that's where we can say it's working. As long we can't hold each other accountable, why South Africa and other countries in the SADC can hold Zimbabwe accountable? Why can't we hold Zimbabwe accountable? Make sure that we close the border, that people will retaliate to the Zimbabwean government, because Zimbabwean people now are protesting in South Africa. They're not protesting in Zimbabwe, where they thought they were too smart and took everything by force and killed the white farmers and everything. And we took the different direction of try to work it out. Even they make jokes of us that we don't have land and everything. So it's time for us as Africans to be honest about the open border policy and everything. Every country protects itself except us. Every country is allowed to protect its border except for South Africa. Why not us? Want to start to protect our border. No, UK is not xenophobia. People in America, Chicago. Let me tell you what's happening in Chicago right now. South Africa, America is also in crisis. That's why you say in America. I'm not looking up to America. I got nothing to look up to America right now. Right now, it's not the time to be looking up to America. It's burning to the ground. In Chicago, there are lots of Venezuelan gangs. Sorry. There are lots of Venezuelan gangs, and they are taking over everything from the blacks. They're extorting black people. They, they just stand on the corner with hundreds of guns, and it's easy for them to group themselves because of why they can't group themselves in their country to fix their problem. Everybody can't group themselves. They only group themselves when they're in South Africa too. Um, that's a slave master mentality. They only group themselves when they wanna conquer someone, like the Dutch and the English did when they want to colonize the black people. Because the Anglo-Boer War, they fought the Dutch and the English. Then the English win and they took the economy, but they gave the Dutch what? In fact, the Dutch win is where the Dutch won, and that's where England started losing its power, because that was the first war England war lose a war, and it lost to the Dutch in South Africa, the Afrikaner. Then okay, but it loses the economy structure. So what's happening to the black people? It's not new, but the Afrikaners were. So the Afrikaners and whites work together to now oppress the black politically, socially, and economically. So if people are grouping just to, that's a colonizer mentality. That's what other African countries do to us. They are not united. They only stock together here. They only do everything together here because of they wanna colonize our business. They wanna colonize our economy. But how come they are not together in their country doing those things that they are doing here? If they are so united, how come that unity doesn't work in their country? Think it's not illegal yet. Dear EFF members, this is a message for you. The open border policy, it's skak. You need to start thinking. You need to start thinking. But the free trade in Africa, I love it. We need to trade with each other, make sure we work with each other as much as we can. But it should be scratch my back, I should scratch your back. We're done with the pointing fingers that we were held by Nigeria. We're tired with that. We've helped Nigeria in so many ways, and we're gonna continue to help Nigeria. But we are not forced to help Nigeria. We're not forced to help Zimbabwe. We've helped thousands and millions of Zimbabweans in South Africa, and they didn't help millions and millions of South Africans. You should think that they didn't take millions and millions of South Africa, but we're taking millions and millions of them. But we say, okay, we've done it. We not say compensate us or do something. Go and start fix your things, because that's what we want for you guys. Because we want for you guys to also restore your dignity. Because of here, it's not a good country for you to settle. You while you have a home, you're making us being uncomfortable in our territory. You can be a visitor. You can have some skills, some few people, some skilled people coming in here, those critical things that we need. But otherwise, we just need to be on ourselves, working on ourselves. They say we don't have skills. Where are we gonna get those skills, guy? If they importing you to take those skills, okay, where are we gonna get those skills, guy? Okay, meaning they say bend to the ground because of you don't have skills. What's that? Is that the government for the people? I need to. This is the opportunity for the people to learn the skills, to suffer first. We need to suffer to get those skills. We have seen things. We have studied. We have seen. We have realized what's happening. What skills are needed. What's the market. What everything is happening. We need everybody to go home, so we can take care of our skills. We can start from the ground and build up. They can also do that in their countries. So, dear EFF and your members, stop it. stop the open border and DA.